Hi, and today I thought I'd talk to you about network streaming and how OSD can help you get sound around your business or your home. Now, out of all of the products that OSD actually make for streaming, I'm going to focus on just one particular one, and I'll get to that in a minute. But firstly, I thought I'd say that all of the custom install side of the products come with both Ethernet and Wi-Fi, and then the more integrated products come with Wi-Fi only. And that's cool because it keeps you covered for all situations. But in this video, I'm going to be focusing on the SRT4. Now, this is a 4-zone streamer that can transmit to 4 different places at the same time with completely different content. And as with everything else in this world, or what seems like everything else in the world, this is controlled by an app, which you can get on Android or iOS. Now, on the back of the SRT4, there's an RS-232 control if you've got it hooked up to a global control system, and we've got some other inputs and outputs. So there's 3 global inputs on the back of the SRT4, 1 digital, which is via an optical socket, and then 2 analog. This means that you could hook up, say for instance, a Skybox and a record player, and with these connected directly, the Skybox via optical, and then the turntable via the analog inputs, whether or not your turntable would have a preamp or not, then that signal goes to all of the outputs globally. And this means that if the change is made to the Skybox or the turntable, then all of the zones will actually receive that change. There's no independent. But you could have someone listening to the Skybox in zone 1 and then someone in zone 4 listening to the turntable. That's not a problem. And don't forget, there is another spare analog input. So that's 2 analog ins and 1 digital in. And now we've got the global input sorted out, we can go back to each of the zones and see what we've got. So there's a line output, a digital output, a USB input, and a WPS for each of the 4 zones on the back of the SRT4. Now, I've put an SRT1 on top of the SRT4 just to show you that essentially the SRT4 is 4 SRT1s in one box. Now, if you are going to go wireless, but I would recommend going hardwired, then all you need to do is press the WPS button on the back of your router and then press the WPS button on each of the zones on the back of the SRT4. And then you'll be all connected via Wi-Fi. But as I said, and I'll say it again, go hardwired if you can. And you've got the option of using the USB input. Now you can use a USB stick or a solid state drive because it doesn't take a lot of power. And then on that zone, you'll have access to all of that media that's saved there. And I think that will just about do us for the back of the SRT4. We're all plugged in, we're all powered up, and we're ready to go. So I'll see you around the front. And now I think it's time to take a tour of the app and actually get to grips with how you control the SRT4. Now, I'm using an iPhone, but as I said before, you can equally use an Android phone if that's the way you want to go. Pressing the app and the 4 zones immediately appear. Now, please bear in mind, I'm hardwired, which will make everything just that bit faster, and I've got a very robust wireless network here. And you can see on the screen that we've got the 4 zones of the SRT, and I've just selected zone 4, and there we go, radio 4 is actually playing. And the spinning dial at the top with the logo, that actually denotes that it's streaming and playing. Pressing the 3 dashes at the top gives you access to all of the streaming services and the global inputs for that particular zone. And the SRT comes loaded with TuneIn, VTuner, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Tidal, Napster, and Amazon Music, and the ability to add some more services. And the one thing that's quite noticeable is actually the speed of the page refreshing and the way you can actually navigate round each of the services. There's also lots and lots of metadata for you, so you can make a really informed choice of what you want to listen to. Now, there's a couple of zone-specific settings I'd like to show you, and the first one is the L&R button. Now, if you cycle through that, you can actually select the left or the right or the left and right speaker. Then there's the cog. By pressing that, that takes you up to the zone-specific setup, where you can set a custom name. I'm just going to cycle through and just find something at random, but you must make sure you press the finish button, otherwise the name won't take and save. And the next item we have is speaker info, which really they should have named it as zone info, because this is where all of the Wi-Fi information, MAC address and so on is actually kept. Another cool feature is the alarm clock, and you can add a number of these wake-ups or alarms. You just set the time, the frequency, or they call it rate. You can set the volume and the particular content that you want, whether it's a streaming service or off one of the direct inputs. So you have quite a lot of flexibility in how you want to be woken up. There's also a section for controlling your presets. If there's any deletions that you need to make, this is where you'd come. There's full support for Tidal within the app. All you need to do is put your login information in and you'll get access. And here's the login screen and information for Amazon Prime Music, which is personally what I use. And I'm not saying for 1 minute it's either better or worse than any of the others. And as new services come out and the app gets upgraded and updated, they will actually appear here. And then you can turn them on and off, because there's no point having an app available if you're never going to use it. So bye-bye Napster. At the bottom of the app is where you can access the hardwired inputs. So your analog, your optical, the USB, they're all available down here. Then I suppose the last thing I should do is set up a Spotify account. So within the app, it will take you to Spotify where you can sign up. It's taken me to the App Store. I can download and set myself up a free account. Now, once everything's downloaded and I've selected some bands that I like, and yes, it is metal and rock, then that's the Spotify account set up and linked through the OSD amp going into the SRT4. And there we go, it's all done. I think I've shown you about everything that the SRT4 can do, and you can add on to this. So if you wanted 8 zones, you quite happily add another SRT4, and inside the app those extra 4 zones will appear, and you can keep building and building upon your wide network of distributed music and sound across your whole house. Well, I hope you've enjoyed watching the video on the SRT4. If you have, please like and subscribe, it really helps us out, and we'll see you soon in the next video. Take care, stay safe, bye bye.